What if I told you that a simple flower once brought one of the world's most powerful economies to its knees? We're not talking about just any flower, but one so valuable that a single bulb could be traded for a massive house in Amsterdam. It sounds totally made up, right? But it's the absolutely true and wild story of Tulip Mania. And this quote from historian Mike Dash, man, it just nails what this is all about. Sure, this is a story about economics, but really, it's a story about people. It's about us. Our psychology, our greed, our fear, and our wild, often dangerous love affair with speculative frenzies. And before you write this off as just some dusty old history lesson, check this out. The asset changes, tulip bulbs, crypto, meme stocks, but the human behavior, it's a pattern that just keeps repeating. What went down with flowers 400 years ago has some seriously spooky parallels to what we see in markets today. And that's exactly why this story is more important now than ever. So let's be clear what we're talking about. A financial bubble. It's when the price of something, anything, suddenly disconnects from its real value and just skyrockets, fueled by nothing but hype. Until, like a real bubble, it pops, and everyone gets soaked. Let's see how it all played out with a simple flower. Okay, so how on earth did a flower become worth more than a house? To really get it, we need to go back in time to the perfect breeding ground for this mania, the Dutch Golden Age. So picture this, the Netherlands in the early 1600s. They are hands down the wealthiest country in Europe. Trade is booming, money is pouring in, and a modern economy is taking shape. But, and this is a big but, it was also a very strict Calvinist society. Showing off your wealth with flashy clothes or jewelry was a huge no-no. So how did the newly rich show everyone they'd made it? Well, there was one acceptable way, beautiful, elaborate garden. And right into this perfect environment comes this stunning, exotic new flower from the far-off Ottoman Empire, the tulip. It was rare, it was gorgeous, and it was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. Very quickly, owning the rarest tulips became the ultimate status symbol. It told the world you had money, sure, but also that you had taste.
But here's the thing, not all tulips were created equal. A plain red tulip was nice, but certain varieties became insanely, absurdly expensive. So what was the deal? What made one little bulb worth a fortune?
Well, the answer was all in how they looked. The most valuable tulips were the ones called broken tulips. They had these incredible, dramatic, flame-like streaks of color. To the Dutch, these were one-of-a-kind masterpieces of nature. And here's the twist. The beautiful patterns weren't the result of master gardening. The cause was a virus. A plant disease was infecting the bulbs, causing the color to break in these beautiful ways. Of course, they had no idea. All they knew was that these flowers were unbelievably rare and valuable. And what's more, the virus that made them beautiful also made them fragile and hard to reproduce, making them even rarer. So you have this perfect storm of new wealth, social status, rarity, and beauty. The stage was set. And this thing was about to explode, from a hobby for rich gardeners into a full-blown speculative frenzy, where people were literally trading thin air. And it all happened because of an invention called wind handle, which literally means wind trade. See, you can only move tulip bulbs during the summer, so people started trading paper contracts for bulbs that were still in the ground. You weren't buying a flower, you were buying a promise. They basically invented the futures market, right there in the taverns of Holland. The system was incredibly simple and addictive. People from every walk of life, from rich merchants to shoemakers, would pack into taverns, which became their own makeshift stock exchanges. You'd buy a contract for a bulb, wait for the price to go up, and then sell that same piece of paper to the next guy for a profit. The actual flower? Who cared? Many of these traders never even saw the bulbs they were trading. And at the absolute center of this whirlwind was one almost mythical tulip, the Semper Augustus. With its jaw-dropping red and white flames, it was the Holy Grail. It was the face of the mania. So, how much for the Holy Grail? At its peak, a single bulb of Semper Augustus could go for 10,000 guilders. Now, I know what you're thinking. That number doesn't really mean anything to us today. So let's put that into perspective. Just look at this. It's completely insane. For the price of one single flower bulb, a bulb that might just rot in the ground, you could buy a massive house on the best canal in Amsterdam. Or you could buy enough livestock and cheese to feed a family for years. People were literally mortgaging their homes and their businesses, betting everything on these flowers. You know how this works, right? A market built on nothing but the hope that the next person will pay more, well, that party can't last forever. The crash was coming, and it came hard and fast. I mean, just look at the speed of this thing. After climbing for a while, prices went completely vertical in the winter of 1636. We're talking gains of over 1,000% in just a matter of weeks. It was pure madness. And then, one day in February 1637, the music just stopped.
The end came at a routine auction in a tavern in Harlem. A batch of tulips came up for sale, and there was silence. No bids. The auctioneer dropped the price. Still nothing. In that moment, everyone realized the terrifying truth. There were no more buyers willing to pay these crazy prices.
And just like that, panic. The news shot through the city like a bolt of lightning. The magic was gone. Suddenly, everyone was a seller, and absolutely no one was a buyer. The market didn't just crash, it evaporated overnight. Prices fell by over 95%. The crash was a catastrophe, leaving countless people financially ruined. But it also left behind a powerful lesson. History's first real anatomy of a bubble. A lesson that has some very, very clear echoes today. This slide really says it all. The smoke-filled taverns are now smartphone trading apps. The beautifully drawn tulip books that hyped up the bulbs, they're now Reddit forums and social media influencers. And those paper promises, the wind trade, it sounds an awful lot like trading digital assets you never actually see or touch, doesn't it? Because here's the ultimate takeaway. The technology changes, the assets change, but the human drivers, they are exactly the same. It's raw greed, it's that powerful fear of missing out, or FOMO, when you see your friends getting rich. It's the herd mentality of just following the crowd. And it's that incredibly dangerous belief that no, this time it's different. You know, the Dutch traders had an excuse. They'd never seen a bubble before. They were flying blind. We don't have that excuse. The story of Tulip Mania is this timeless warning that our markets are driven just as much by emotion as they are by logic. And it forces us to ask a really tough question. What's the tulip of our time, and will we recognize it before it pops?